All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is CPI day. CPI came in better than expected with the year-over-year reading at 3% versus 3.1% expected. Looking at the other measures, the month-over-month reading came in at 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. The core CPI ended up coming in just barely better than expectations too, at 4.8 versus 5%, and then the month-over-month reading 0.2 versus 0.3. So an improvement across the board for the inflation report. So markets are currently melting up, with the S&P up by 0.9% so far this morning. The NASDAQ top 100 currently up by 1.06%. The Dow Jones is currently up by 0.7%, and then the Russell 2000 is up by 1.7%. A huge gain on the Russell 2000, even after the last few days. So we're seeing a huge pop for the small caps, with IWM currently trading at 193, which could provide us with a decent squeeze, since now we're above 190, which has been resistance ever since June 8th. So, good day for the Russell. Let's check out the big tech names and how they're doing. Google currently trading at 119, up from 117.70 yesterday. Could run into some resistance at 120, I'm guessing. Microsoft currently trading, I think, at 335. Actually, 336, up from 332. Apple is almost back to 190 again at 189.62. Q's currently trading at 372.21. Meta currently trading just above 300 at 301.30. Tesla's at 276.30. Amazon's at 130.2. And Nvidia is currently trading at 430. So you have a few stocks at key levels, namely Nvidia at 430. Tesla's not quite as close to 280 as I would like. Google trading close to 120. So we'll keep those two on the watch list for sure. And let's see, Meta maybe at that 300 mark, but it is slightly above it already. But yeah, that would be the two trades for sure I'm looking for this morning, Nvidia and Google. Good morning. Does this mean that the Fed is going to pause interest rates? Let's see what the Fed futures are expecting. FOMC countdown tool. See if this changed the odds at all for the next meeting, which is July. There's the bell. July 26th, so 2 weeks away, still at 92% versus 93%. So not really changing the Fed futures, which means that we're still likely to get that 25 basis point rate hike for the July meeting in a couple weeks. All right, so Apple at 190, Nvidia's at 430, and Google's close to 120. Let me check the options chain for the three names. Especially Apple at 190 should be pretty decent. The drop in open interest isn't that great, so won't take that trade. Nvidia, I would think, has a decent drop in open interest and volume above 430, but let me check. All right, yeah, open interest drops by about 2/3. Volume is low right now, so you can't really rely on it too heavily. But it drops by about 3/4. So let's try to get on an Nvidia put. We'll add it to the bottom right. And I'll go for the 425 strike price. We're not going to go too far out of the money. We are in Wednesday, so there's not a lot of time for this trade to keep playing out. But these are trading for 350. Lowest they went was 346. And on that wick, they went all the way to 423. So $75 profit potential if it does pull back. But we would want to cut losses just above 430. So that'd be about 340 or so. Why is my zoom pulling up right now? It's not what I need. Not what I need at all. All right. Yeah, everything's just kind of trading at the highs. Nvidia just went above 430 right now. That's trading at 330 a piece. Still could pull back. But I don't like that it's above the 430 level because that means people will start buying into the 432s. They're not buying them too heavy yet. 2,600 of the 430s and then only 800 of the 432s right now. All right. So I'm going to try to snag it at 340, 330 maybe if I'm lucky. All right, 325 was my entry. $425 put expiring this week. 7/14, 325. Bears are going to get squeezed again today. Definitely could be with this inflation report. I'm thinking could be a decent short squeeze out of it. All right, looks like Nvidia is going up a little bit more here, 432 nearly. Contracts are going for 240. Trading at 432.5 now. So we'll see if we pull back from 433 there. This just keeps on going up. Let's see, Meta's trading above 302. Apple's trading above 190. Google's still trading below 120 right now. But getting pretty close to that level already. All right, back into the 431s for Nvidia. Now into the 430s. So steep little pullback off 433.31 high. And now right below 430. I entered these contracts at, what was it, 325 a piece. Currently going for 335. But seems to be catching some support at the 430 level right now. Yeah, looks to be catching that support right under 430. Went all the way as low as 429.51, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there. QQQ, let's see what it's doing. Trading at 372.28. This one's making new highs at 372.76, but pulling back a little bit there. Tesla really pulled back. This one was a good short this morning. Topped out at 276.50 and all the way down to 274 in the first 10 minutes. So if Nvidia follows Tesla's lead, that should lead it under 430, maybe back to 428-ish. These contracts should go for 420 or so for 100 profit if it does manage all the way down there. A lot back and forth though, between 430 and 431 now. So catching itself in a pretty tight range for such an expensive stock. Bid ask is kind of wide for the stock itself. It's about 20 cents. Finally sold your Nvidia calls. Very nice. Very nice if you had them before. It's up 1.5% this morning, so nice little rally with the CPI day. Q's trading at 372, so you're really not seeing much movement after the huge rally after CPI this morning. Just kind of everything trading close to their highs for the moment. Nvidia is the leader so far, 1.6%, the closest, Apple at 191 almost. Apple just took the lead again. But yeah, everything is up about 1.2 to 1.6% today for the big tech names. And Nvidia catching support at 432 times here so far. So we'll see if it can hold that or not. Let's check the volume, see if that has changed any. Looks like people are actually buying into the 432 and a halves. 4,200 of those, 7,800 for the 430. So there's actually a decent chance we might continue to rise with that support at 430 now. All right, these are going for 275. Try to get out close to 3 if I can. But yeah, not seeing the 50% drop that we need for this trade to pivot back to the downside for right now. Let's see if there's any other trades we can make in the meantime. Google trading at close to 120. Let's see if people are buying the 121s and above. Yeah, there's actually a decent amount of 121s, so might not get the pivot there either. Apple at 191 right now. I'd imagine people are probably buying the 192 and a half. Yep. Microsoft trading at 337 and a half. Plenty of volume into the 340s. Let's see, Meta currently trading at 302, above 300, and people are buying the 302 and a halves and 305s. Amazon, they are buying the 131, so it looks like across the board you're not going to get the pivot to the downside. You might have it for Tesla, but that's not until the 280 strike, which is way far out, since Tesla's trading at 273 right now. Dang it. Spilt on myself. Yeah. Nvidia getting back close to those highs at 433.30. So yeah, this one looks like it's going to keep rallying. Let's see if the 435s are popular too, I'm sure. Yeah, even more popular than the 432.5s. Trading at new morning highs, 433.65. And very, very hot stock, trading at 73 on the RSI. So people are loving Nvidia this morning above 430. Let's check Microsoft at 340. That could be a pivot. Yeah, both interest and volume dropped pretty significantly, well more than 50% at 340 for a decent short position there. We can go with say 335s, trading for 110 right now. Lows that they've gone this morning. All right. Oh, they just jumped them. Dang it. To 120 from 113. All right, going for 110 now. Looked like I missed that entry just barely. All right, 115 is my entry there. All right, those are already going. 128 up 45, 13%. Nice little pullback from that 340 mark that we were looking for. If we could give up maybe half of that down to 338, might exit there. Get these contracts. Let's see, this is the hourly chart. We need to look at the 5. Yeah, 145-ish would be a good exit level. 140, 145. The low on that candle was 338.15 or 338.18. It's about 70 cents off right now. A lot of movement in 20 minutes. Yep. And it's CPI day. Lots of volume coming in. Lots and lots of volume trading today. So expect lots of volatility with it. They're still not buying the 342s or the 345s too much, so still a decent chance that we pivot around 340, I'm thinking. Last high was at 339.75, currently at 339.45. It's not too far off the high. Let's see if Nvidia is going to keep on headed up with that 435 level. Open interest drops by about 50%, a little bit more. Volume drops by a significant amount, 14,000 to 2,000. So better chance that we pivot at 435 than we do at that 430 level from earlier today in the morning. Let's see where Qs is trading at 373. It's a very bullish day on the Qs, up by 1.35%. All the big names are up a good 1.5%, 2%. Nvidia up 3%. We are seeing a pullback for Amazon at the moment. Microsoft's trading right at 340. Apple's actually trading lower. Oh wait, no, that's Tesla. Apple pulled back though from 190 to 170. Nvidia's just taking off like a rocket at 436 right now. Move into bonds, bond futures, or options. The only bond that I usually trade is TLT, but it's very infrequent. I don't trade it a lot. It doesn't get a lot of movement, so it's not super attractive to trade in the first place. And I would have thought that today's CPI report would give it a little bit of change, but it's only moved 0.3% today. So even on a day you would expect a lot of volatility for bonds, it didn't move much. All right, looks like Microsoft just topped at that 340 level that we expected. Small pullback to 339.30. Back into the 338s here. If Apple's going to be a leading indicator, there could be a decent pullback on Microsoft. Maybe back down to 338, 337.50 or so. Nvidia's almost closing in on 440 here. 437.30 right now. Huge jump there. Lots of volume flooding into it. It looks like today. Yeah, way more than yesterday morning. Surprised that Tesla didn't get that kind of reaction this morning. Usually Tesla and Nvidia trade very similar. What do I think of a Tesla call? Let's see. I don't see any place for it to pivot, but let's check. The volume dropped pretty heavy after 270 and below for the puts, but the open interest doesn't drop by more than 50%. So for me, I wouldn't want to take it as a confirmation that we pivoted from 270, but I mean, considering that Nvidia is just ripping everyone's face off right now, Tesla could get a good rally just in kind of sympathy with it, just because those names, again, they trade very similar to one another. Lots of options action on the two of the names, so wouldn't be too shocking to see it climbing higher. But I would think that it would stop probably at about 280, so I would take profits around there. And then maybe set your stop loss at around that 273 was a good support for the past 15 minutes. So you risk 1.5 to make up to 5.5. Looks like Meta's taking over here. Actually bouncing at 300. Catching that as a support. Apple is not playing with us at all, though. Could catch a bounce at 190, but I don't think that the open interest drops enough for it. And there's actually a decent amount of 187.5 puts in volume too. So this might actually slip under the 190 mark. All right, Microsoft's back into the 338s again. Previous low was at 338.18. So we'll see if we break that and start a downtrend for Microsoft below 340. Nvidia's just got a short squeeze from hell. Let's see. The volume didn't even phase it above 435. They're going straight for the 440s. Tesla trading around 300 for earnings. It's trading at 270 right now, 275. So another 10%. Maybe after earnings if it's a good one. Before earnings might be a bit of a stretch. Let's see when earnings is going to be. It's scheduled 7/19, 1 week away, next Wednesday. So yeah, maybe after earnings, if they have a good one, then they could be trading above 300. There's probably a lot of open interest and volume on the 300 calls for next Friday's expiration. Let's see if that is after the report. 7/19, yeah, 7/21 would be Friday. They report Wednesday. And the 300 has 31,000. That is the hottest call option by far for earnings season. Not a red candle in sight for Nvidia almost. Just this barely coming down. Trading at 80 for the RSI. Alright, here we go with Microsoft trading at 340, so we'll see if we break through the level. The volume is still about half for the 342.5. Did slightly pick up though. Looks like Amazon is performing the worst, only up 1% today and pulling back from 131. The pivot doesn't look strong there, though. Not until 132. Nvidia finally pulling back a little bit from 439.29, so almost hitting that 440 level before pulling back. All right, these Microsoft 335 puts. Probably gonna have to cut losses on them. Trading at 87, got them at 115. They went all the way as high as 173. Let's see when that was. After the first 20 minutes, so they'd have to pull back down to 338. But you are having some people buying into the 342 and a halves. Volume is a little bit, just about 50%. So we'll try to use any pullback to close out of these. Nope, looks like it got support at 340 there. Headed higher at 346. No, they just keep on lowering the bid. But yeah, I'd imagine people are probably buying the 342s now. Actually, there's still a 50% drop. More than that, actually. But trading well above 340 now at 341.10. Do I think SPY will retest 443? Let's see. It's all the way at 447, so that would be a steep pullback. Especially on such a positive day like today. Back to 443. Maybe in the next couple of days if there's anything that shakes up the market. Let me see this week's calendar. See if we have any other big events. But yeah, today I wouldn't expect it all the way back to 443. Got the CPI report today. PPI tomorrow. Producer price index. Expected to be positive, interesting enough. I don't think that'll have that much impact to bring it all the way back to 443. And the Michigan economic report's coming out Friday at 10. I'm not sure if that'll be enough. So maybe next week, if anything, we could get back to 443. But I think for this week, we'll probably find ourselves above that level. right, yeah, Microsoft well above 340 now. 341.5. Still not seeing the volume for the 342.5s, but let's cut our loss. Between 0.7 and 0.75, I think. Alright, Apple's still trading low. That's weird. Usually Apple, Microsoft trade hand in hand. Tesla's trading lower at 273 again. Almost. Everything's pulling back just a little bit. Microsoft pulling back from 341.65 high. Google pulling back from 121. Meta topped at 307.77 and down to 306.40. And you're seeing Nvidia 437.50 down from 439.29. So small pullback across the board, but not amounting to too much just yet. How do I think Delta earnings is going to go? DAL. They're actually falling first thing this morning. Let's see. Earnings is scheduled for 7:13 tomorrow. I mean, this has had a huge squeeze for the past month. So my guess, it'll probably come down. It won't live up to the expectations that traders have built up for it, I don't think. So, in my opinion, probably going to come down to about 45 would be my guess. Give up about half the gains that it's had. A little bit less than half the gains. Amazon's still sticking around 130. Apple trading for 190 and change, almost losing that 190 mark. And again, I think there could be a decent chance that we end up going under 190 for Apple. If we do start a pullback for the big tech names, this one will definitely slip under 190. All right, Nvidia starting to have decent pullback down to 437. Looks like Microsoft's about to go under 340 again. Yep. So it looks like all the tech names are pulling back here slightly. Doubtful that we'll give up all of our gains, especially with Q's up 1.5%. That would be a crazy day, but we've seen worse. We've actually seen very similar trading days to that, where we see Q's up like 1% and then giving it up by the end of the day on CPI day. So wouldn't be too shocking, but it would be a wild day for sure. Yeah, so Microsoft pulling back to 339.50. Previous lows, 338.87. We'll just move this markup actually instead of that. Let's see, this low was 339, no, 338.90. There we go. So we'll see if we can crack that and start the downtrend. Apple's almost below 190, currently at 190.1. Yeah, it looks like Apple's gaining some support at 190 right now. Okay. See where the open interest in the volume is for Qs. We haven't checked that to see where we might be bearish or bullish. I'd imagine 370 puts might be popular. Yeah, a lot more popular than the calls if we do go back to 370. 44,000 in volume versus only 23,000, so about twice as many puts at 370 as calls. Even if we can get to 371, that actually might be pretty bearish. 23,000 versus only 4,600 in volume. So a lot more puts at 371, about 5 times as many. So that would signal the start to a downtrend under 371, which we haven't touched this morning, besides right after the report that was actually support level. But if we go under 371, that should be very bearish for Qs. So it looks like Apple got that support at 190, and that's kind of moving everything up a little bit here. The open interest drop, or the volume drops, were very heavy for Google at 121. Let's see. Microsoft still has that more than 50%. So I kind of want to add another contract for the pivot. Now they're going for 73. All right, 70 each would be nice. Yep, 2 more at 70. So that ought to lower my cost. 97 now instead of the 115 we originally paid. right at 431. Hopefully we don't get trapped here too long and decay it before the next move. Yeah, it looks like Q's is kind of stalling at about 374. Let's see if there's any more upside past that. And there's still plenty of volume going to the 375s, so wouldn't expect a pullback maybe until 378 would be too much of a stretch. But there's not really much to tell us where it might pivot. Maybe 376, another 2 points up. But you're seeing some names pulling back, some of them just trading at the highs and flattening out, like Microsoft. Google trading at the highs and flattening out. Q's. It's a pattern. Tesla back to 273 and finding some support similar to what it did earlier. And Apple's right at 190, just below 190 now. But yeah, market's starting to kill at the time. So I'm going to wait on Microsoft to make a move either direction, and then I'll be out of that 335 put, and that'll be my trading day. But that's it for me, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow at 9:30. Have a good day, everyone.